Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing, the video broadcast series that features the powerful women from the shop floor all the way to the C-suite who are changing the world through engineering and manufacturing. Today, I'm excited to have Nana Younge, who is the founder of Get Girls Going. Hello, Nana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. So, I like to start each episode off with some background information. So, can you tell us about who you are and what Get Girls Going is?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nana Younge, and I'm the founder and executive director of Get Girls Going. So, Get Girls Going is a nonprofit that empowers Black teen girls to be change makers in the communities. And we utilize entrepreneurship as a tool to do that. And so, we empower them to kind of look for problems that they see in their communities and then come up with a solution to address that problem that they're passionate about tackling. So, that's a little bit about Get Girls Going.
That's awesome. And I want to dig a little deeper into how we met too, because I think it's important that manufacturers know what companies are being really proactive within their own communities. And we met through iAutomation,
Mhm.
and I wanted to dig a little deeper into that relationship. So, how are you connected with iAutomation, and what were some of the things that they saw in Get Girls Going that they were really excited about and wanted to help, with your mission and getting girls going?
Yeah. So I actually got introduced to automation through a friend who was working there at the time. And so just a little background, and I guess I can dive into it a little bit deeper later. When I was in college, I started off as an engineering major. And so I was
Okay.
studying to be a plastics engineer, and that's what I was studying for about 2.5 years. And while, studying that, I met a lot of friends, one of whom kind of reconnected with me a couple months ago. I would say sometime last year, and said like, what you're working on is really powerful, Nana, and I really want to connect you with my company because we're thinking about how we empower different people in the community who are trying to make change. And so learning a little bit more about the things that I automation wanted to do in the community, we connected and had a conversation, and talked about like how we could be partners in working toward trying to empower Black teen girls to be entrepreneurs and change makers. And so that's how I got connected to them. And iAutomation has been really great. Aside from supporting us like financially and sponsoring a couple girls to be a part of the program every summer, we've talked a lot about partnership in a sense of having their employees be mentors to our girls, or hosting events like a shadow day where our girls could actually go to their office and go to their site and see what it's like for a couple hours, what it's like to be an engineer or be a manager. So I think those things are really important, right? In addition to
Yeah.
supporting with funding, they also have co-sponsored um, prize money that the girls get at the end of every summer. So at the end of every summer, the girls that participate in our program get to pitch for like an award money. And they take that award like prize and they use that to kind of develop their business after the summer. And so iAutomation has also, contributed in that way where girls are able to get funding to continue working on their business even after the summer.
I think that's great because one of the major things that a lot of manufacturing companies are trying to focus on now is DEI
Mhm,
programs to help diversify the sector because for quite some time it has been a male dominated white sector. And
mhm,
it's been proven that companies who diversify their workforce and get the next generation really excited actually end up being more profitable. And I think it's
mhm.
really important that iAutomation is kind of being proactive and getting involved in the community and actually doing something that might be outside of their expertise
Mhm.
and showing, hey, this is important. We have to show our community members what we're doing if we want to develop that next generation workforce. So I think it's great that they developed that partnership with GGG because it just shows, it's a great example of what other companies can do to
Yeah,
be proactive and getting involved and helping with those DEI efforts.
right.
We have Barack on who says hi, and then we also have Michelle Conklin who says love this. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into what your main inspiration was for starting GGG. What was missing that you wanted to provide a problem or a solution for? Like, what was your main inspiration for starting GGG? What was that moment where you said, we need this, otherwise if nothing's going to change? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was, so I was still an undergrad at the time, and I was studying to be a plastics engineer, like I talked about. And I wanted to kind of just see what it would be like in the real world. Like if I was to work as a plastics engineer, what would that actually look like? And so I took a semester off and decided to work at a company. So I worked at Medtronic for a while, which is really great. And I was working with a team, and we were working on making heart catheters. And so I learned so much. It was really interesting. But every morning when we would, get together and meet kind of as a team, I would look around and realize that there was no one that looked like me. There was
Mm-hmm.
another woman on the team. And so like in that sense, there was still low representation, right? But then also there was no person of color. Um, and I think that experience made me like want to do something about that problem. I was like, hey, there should be more women that look like me in this room, especially when we're creating solutions to solve problems that affect all people. That there
Yeah,
should be representation of all people in this room.
right.
And so I kind of went out and, you know, started thinking about like what led me to this point, where I got to be in engineering school, where I got to, work at this really amazing company. Like, how did I get here? And for me, like the biggest thing when reflecting was mentors. Like my mentors
Mm-hmm.
were the ones that really got me there. And when I think back to like my childhood and the way that I was raised and the community that I grew up in, I wasn't supposed to end up in that position, right? Like that's what data tells us. And so it was really my mentors pushing me all the time, through the really difficult situations, through the just like the really hard times in high school and in college to be like, you can do it, keep on going. Here are some
Mm-hmm.
resources. Like we're here to support you. And so I left that, after that co-op, I left wanting to start Get Girls Going. And so I just reached out to some people, started talking about it a lot, started partnering up with different people in the community that I was in at the time, which was Lowell, and just like started a trial run of that program.
What were some of your biggest fears when going through that process? Because I just I actually quit my job last week, my full-time job, to pursue my freelance work on a full-time basis. And it was something that I was really nervous about doing and scared. And my mentors that I have, it was really their advice, their encouragement, and their support that helped make that transition process a little easier for me. So, what were some of your biggest fears when you were starting this nonprofit? Because that can be a scary journey for people who haven't done it before. So, can you dive into that and then maybe talk about who some of your mentors were specifically?
Yeah. So I think what was challenging, or like, I guess in the beginning, what was challenging was like my fear. So I think I can relate to you, in the sense that like I was just scared. I was like, how do I do this thing?
Yeah.
I know I want to do it, and like I don't even know the steps. And there's no like book on like how to do it really well, right? Like there are resources that you can find when you Google, but like there's no like step-by-step process. I'm like, okay, you do this, that's checked off, you do that next. So I think that was the first part. Like my fear kind of helped me back a little bit in the beginning. Um,
Hmm.
but I think, leaning onto people who had done it before. And so I spent a lot of time doing like informational interviews where I would like try to reach out to people who had started nonprofits or who were executive directors of like really big nonprofits. And I would just try to find some time on their calendar and say, hey, my name's Nana. I'm looking into starting a nonprofit. And I really want to learn from you. So, like, what are things that I should look out for or should be thinking about? And every conversation that I had with someone, I learned something. And so I would keep this long list of like all the things I was learning. Um, and then spent some time trying to find different accelerators that I could participate in, to kind of support like me taking this idea and like making it a reality. So I would say like what I did, and a lot of my mentors um, in like kind of on this journey came from those first couple of accelerators that I did. So I
Mhm.
participated in an accelerator called E for All. Um,
Okay.
and they pair you up with three mentors. And so I had three mentors by joining that. And those mentors were super helpful. And I still have one of those mentors till this day, which is really nice. But I would say the first challenge was fear. And then getting over that, it was like, how do I process all of this information that I'm hearing from people and
Yeah.
do it? So,
I love that you did informational interviews because I think it's really important for other people who might be on a journey of trying to figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life. I really feel like LinkedIn is a great place to get some of those resources and build some of those relationships because there is a lot of information. And I know some coaches that make a pretty good living like charging people, and some of us who are just starting out might not have that revenue available to pay some of these really good coaches, so it's good to build that tribe and face that fear. So I really like the informational interviews. We have Nikki Gonzalez who says, hey ladies, and she also says informational interviews are such an amazing tool.
mhm,
For those of you who don't know Nikki Gonzalez, she is an amazing women in the sector. She and Allie G are starting another podcast called Automation Ladies. So maybe you can connect with them afterwards and do their podcast after this one. They're just starting out and they shared some of their fears similar to ours when we were first starting out. So it's
mhm,
great to see that they're getting that off the ground and running.
yeah,
In terms of Get Girls Going, I noticed that on your site you have 3 sets of elements.
mhm,
So I want to dig a little deeper into each of those elements. And for those who haven't gone to GGG's site, it's the incubator elements, the service elements, and the community elements.
mhm,
Um, but I want to get some more information on what sectors and industries you're focusing on because you started out as a plastic engineer,
mhm.
but entrepreneurship doesn't just fall within manufacturing. There's other areas that people can be entrepreneurs in. So, what are some of those markets that you're focusing on, and how do these elements tie together to help the teenagers that you're working with develop
Mhm.
those skills needed to be great entrepreneurs?
Yeah. I would say the kind of, I guess, complex thing about Get Girls Going and, like, the services we offer is, um, that, like, we don't have a requirement for what kind of, like, solution the girls wanna work on. So we don't come in and say, "Hey, we have, like, a health category or,
Okay.
engineering category," and so they can come in and say, "Hey, I wanna start a nonprofit," or, "I wanna work on an ed tech company," or, "I wanna work on a beauty product," which is really cool,
Yeah.
but then also it's like, how do you provide support for all of these things, right?
Hmm.
And so we kind of see ourselves as um, the people that are going to teach the entrepreneurial skills and the competencies that the girls need to learn. But our model is built around like partnerships. And I think like that's our biggest thing where we're like trying to make sure that we build a lot of partners, because it's really the partners that provide all the additional support to these girls, that we
Hmm.
don't provide, right? But that is needed in order for them to really come out with a really good solution. And so we have like entrepreneurship advisors. We have our girls have like different panels where people can talk about, different parts of industry that they are focused on. So we try to do things where they're getting the things that they need in order to work on their solution, because we know we don't provide that. So I
Hmm.
think when it comes to like what we need from people, it's really everything. So we have like a long running list, and what we say to people when they sign up to be a volunteer for us and they sign up to be an entrepreneurship advisor is we say, we actually don't know what we're getting this summer. Like, we know we're going to be recruiting, about 15 to 20 girls every summer, but we actually don't know what ideas they want to work on. And so they come in, and the first week that we spend with them is really trying to figure out what problems do they care about, what solution do they want to work on, and then after that we then tap into our partners and say, hey, we have 3 girls that want to work on a beauty product this summer, or hey, we have a girl that wants to work on a femtech product this summer. And so we reach out to our respective partners based on what the need is that summer for the girls that
Hmm.
we're working with. So I think, yeah, it's hard to say like only this. We kind of just say like if you do anything and you're passionate about working with our young entrepreneurs, sign up and connect with us because we would love to work with you in some way.
I like that you're flexible to adapt to what their passions are, because I think that's important in encouraging people to be brave enough to pursue what they want to do. I feel like if you set limitations, that can kind of make them start doubting themselves a little bit and maybe step back
Mm,
from what they actually do. So I think that's awesome that you're developing these partnerships across different markets that you can reach out to at specific points. So you
yeah.
keep mentioning summer. So is this just a summer program, or do you have other programs available through GGG to help, you know, hone in on their skills throughout the school year?
Yeah, so our main program starts in the summer. So that's when we meet the girls. So every like cohort that we work with, we meet in the summer. And then
Okay.
after the summer, we work with them for up to a year. And so we like
Hmm.
if they want to continue to work with us, they can work with us for as long as they want. But we work with them for at least up to a year. And during the school year, we provide them with like monthly check-ins. So we're checking in with them 2 times a month. They have access to like an internal newsletter that they're getting weekly with resources and different opportunities. We're also hosting like workshops and events that they can attend. And so that's kind of the yearly programming. But the summer is kind of I would say our main like program because it's a whole 6-week program where we're spending every day with them for like about 8 hours a day. So that's what we talk about the most. But we definitely do have a school year program to support the work that they did in the summer.
And how do you find the girls? Do you work with the educational institutions within your community? And is there an age, like a specific age range? Like what does um, the typical student of GGG, like what's the demographic for their age group, and
Mhm.
how you're finding them?
Yeah, so their age group, so we just say like 15 to 18, but it's primarily
Okay.
like if you're in ninth to 12th grade, you can work with us. So,
So high
but you
school
have to be
students?
going, yeah, you have to be going into like, well, for the first group, you can't be going into like ninth grade. You have to be going into 10th grade, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, yep.
but, yeah, and so the way we find the girls is we work with, like, schools, so we've reached out to, like, guidance counselors, and oftentimes guidance counselors will reach out to us because most, high schools will have, like, a list of summer opportunities that they send out to their students before the summer, and so if they have, like, a career person on site or if they have just guidance counselors that is doing that work, we connect with them to make sure that our name is on that list. We also, in the past, have done sessions where we would go inside the schools and table at a lunch, or we might go into our home session and do like a 10-minute maybe design thinking activity and then talk about the work that we're doing, get girls going. And so it's been done different ways. And
Mhm.
recently we've partnered with the city of Boston's youth like summer program, and so we get a lot of applicants through that program. And so yeah, primarily last summer, that's where a lot of our girls came from.
So, in terms of what your mission is now and where you want to go, what are some of your biggest challenges or roadblocks that you're facing?
Yeah, I think biggest challenge for us has been like funding so far. That's been a big thing for us because as we think about scaling, it's gonna take a lot of funding to do that. Um,
Mhm.
and another like component about our program is when we first started running our program, we realized that a lot of the girls that we work with couldn't really commit to our program because they had to work. Like they were like, hey,
Yeah.
like we really want to do this program, but I have to get a job this summer, or I have to get a job after school. And a lot of it was because they came from low income families, and they needed to support their family or support themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the number one thing. And we started to see our attendance kind of decline because of that. And so we knew that if we were going to make our program work, we had to pay the girls. We had to pay them so that they could commit themselves to the program and to working on their solution. And so that's a part of our program that we need funding for. So I would say the biggest challenge has been like being able to raise enough funding every year to support the amount of girls that want to do our program. So for example, like last summer we had, I think, close to 150 applicants, and we were only able to accept
Wow.
yes, we were only able to accept like 15 girls. So
So you
it's
do
just
have a cap.
yeah, we have yeah, exactly. And so thinking through like if we want to, support more girls and have more girls through the program and also have enough funding for them to actually build out their program. Build out their solution, then we need funding. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a student right now who did our program last summer, and she's working on a product that she wants manufactured in China. And I'm like, we're walking
Wow.
yeah, and so we're working through that process, but she's going to need money, right, to get a prototype and to see if it works, and then to order and to do all these things. And so we want to make sure that like we're also helping her and supporting her in that aspect, and
Yeah.
that takes us being able to gain and raise more funding in order to support the girls. So I would say that's the biggest challenge for us. Um, is like we're a lot of people. It's high demand, not enough funding to like meet that demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the girls who are applying every year, if they want to, is it typically just a 1 year opportunity? You said that the one girl started last year and
Yep.
then reapplied this year. So they have to reapply every single year because you just have so many limited seats.
Yeah. Well, so actually, she didn't reapply this year. We're just working with her because we continue to
Oh,
work with
okay.
them for up to a year. So, um,
Okay.
yeah. So we're just working with her during the school year. But yeah.
So then just for my clarification,
Mhm.
so it's a 6 week program,
Yep.
and then once that 6 weeks is over with, you can help with additional resources after they graduate from the program.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. That's really cool, but it's unfortunate too because it's they're showing interest, like they want to be there, they want to participate, they want to learn, and
Hmm.
it's just unfortunate that things like funding, forces us to provide a cap and you can only select so many girls.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
really unfortunate. It seems like with high schools everywhere,
Mhm.
that's one of the main issues too is funding. So the VOTech programs that have been, you know, kind of put on the back burner, we're now feeling that effect.
Yeah.
And with the supply chain issues and everything going on, it's really hard for teachers to get funding for those classes, and most of them seem to be taking it out of their own pocket uh, to keep these classes going. So um, I like that iAutomation partnered up with you. Are you still working with them now? Like, are you still developing plans and events around what GGG missions is? And if so, what are some of the things we can look forward to with that partnership?
Yes, we are. So this summer they are going to be co-sponsoring our pitch night, which is, the last night of the 6-week summer program where the girls will be pitching their ideas to like a panel of judges. And that event is actually open to anyone. So we have community members come, we have their family and friends come. It's a really great, great night. So they're sponsoring one of the award prizes that the girls are going to be getting. So we have like a first place winner, a second place winner, and a third place winner. And then we have like an audience choice. So it's a really fun time. There's
That's
food
awesome.
and activities and hearing pitches. So yeah, and definitely in that way. And then we've also talked about having the girls come to their site this summer and seeing if we can kind of act on those ideas that we had where we talked about Shadow Day. Because another thing that our girls have asked from us during the summer is aside from the entrepreneurship classes and aside from like getting time to bond with one another, is like trying to figure out like what they actually want to do in the future. Like what's my purpose?
Yeah.
And so it's been great. Last summer, we spent some time doing like looking into just different like careers that they haven't heard before. So we
Mm-hmm.
brought a panel in that talked about, different things that they did in their careers. And the girls just really liked it a lot because they were like, oh, I didn't know that was something you could do. Like, I didn't know that was,
Yeah.
like, I didn't know that was like something you could do for a living. And it's like, yeah, it is. And so being able to kind of expose them to different careers has been really great. So I think that's another way that we're thinking about, working together this summer, which is awesome.
So Nikki said, thanks, Megan. We would love to talk to Nana on automation ladies. And then we have Cliff Freeman, who just gave us a bunch of fire emojis. So I'm hoping that means he likes our conversation. But you hit on a really good point when they told you that they didn't know that career existed. And I think that's a main problem within the manufacturing and engineering sector
Yeah.
is, it's not that dirty, dark, dull, dingy place anymore. You still have those opportunities within manufacturing because it requires that raw materials need to be produced, and
Yeah.
those are pretty dangerous, dark, dirty places. But with all of the advancements in technologies, there's these new career opportunities that are coming up, and not a lot of people are speaking about them
Mhm.
to the next generation workforce, so they wouldn't even know anything about them. So I think that's great
Exactly.
that you're trying to make those connections and provide those field trips for them so that they can see firsthand
Mhm.
um, what different opportunities out there and what a day in the life looks like within those opportunities.
Yeah.
So Nana, before I let you go, this was great. Like I love organizations like this because I just feel like if you pay it forward in your community, everybody wins, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to pitch GGG to our audience because one of my main goals with Mavens of Manufacturing is to really connect those bridges between manufacturers and the communities that they're in. And to be honest, I think some manufacturers can do a better job being proactive with reaching out to their community and asking, hey, what do you need from us to help with this?
Mhm.
So if you had one ask for our audience members today, what would your main ask be for them?
My ask would be to connect with us because we really need mentors that are from across all markets to work with our girls. And then I think the second ask, I have to add this part, is the funding piece. So if you at all are looking to, donate to an organization that's doing really important work in the communities, I think donating to Get Girls Going is a really great kind of paying forward action that you can do. So I would say connecting with us so that you could be, mentors for our girls. And then if you are interested in funding or donating to us and helping us build our Black Girl Entrepreneurship Fund, please donate to us.
So I'm going to flash your link down there. So if you go to www.getgirlsgoing.org, it's a really easy process. I did it myself. They have a donate button on there. It brings you to a screen and there's different options that you can select from. It takes a matter of seconds. So if you want to be more proactive in helping, nonprofits like GGG within your own community, check out their websites and see if they have something similar set up, but definitely check out GGG and see what you can do. Now for Pitch Night, you said that's an open event for
Yes.
anyone to attend. So where is that actually happening? So anyone within that community, if they want to see what GGG is all about and how your pitch night goes, where can they attend that event?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process of picking between two locations, but it is going to be in Boston, and it is going to be on. I just want to make sure. I think August 13th. And we will send out we'll have all the information on our website. And I can also share it with you, Megan. So if you want to share it out via LinkedIn,
Yes,
but
yes,
we'll have
absolutely.
like tickets on Eventbrite, and we'll make sure it's on our website so you can get that information on where it is.
I like that you have tickets for it because I think that's a great idea for people to even donate for such a
Mhm.
great cause. So, Nana, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share more information about GGG. Again, to anyone that's listening, if you want to help out an important cause, please go to GGG and donate to their cause because as we talked about earlier in our conversation, mentorship is really important for the next generation workforce. A lot of things are unknown for kids. Some don't know what they want to be at
Yeah.
high school. I was one of those examples where I was a senior and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And it took
Yeah.
me even 3 years after the fact. So
Mhm.
even if it's on a volunteer basis and you want to do some mentorship for GGG, please reach out to Nana or Nana. It's really important for us to be more proactive. So again, Nana, thank you so much for taking the time. Any last
Mhm.
words or advice for anyone out there struggling to figure out what they want to do?
Um, I just want to say thank you for having me on here. This was really great. And I think just last advice, if you're trying to figure out what you want to do, is like just try things and see what you like. But also try to tap into like what you're passionate about and see if there's a way to like take that passion and make it something that is fulfilling, but something that like can also help you pay your bills, you know.
Yeah.
um, but just try to tap into that passion, because oftentimes I think sometimes what we tell kids, or the I don't know, the ideas that we've told kids for a long time is that like you have to do this, this, and this in order to be like
Yeah.
stable, right? And that like you can't pursue your passion. Like even if your passion's art, you can't pursue that because that doesn't make money. But like how could we think of like taking the things that we're super passionate about and still trying to find a way to make money? I think those are really important things. So I would say if you're trying to figure out what you want to do, start talking to people, start exploring, and just be curious about things, because if there's something you're passionate about, there's probably a way to like make sure that you're able to do that thing for the rest of your life.
That's such great advice. Well, thanks again, Nana. To anyone that tuned in today, thank you for joining us. I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful weekend. Enjoy. Yeah, just have a great day and take care of one another. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This has been another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing. Subscribe for more and make sure to tune in next time.